Welcome to Love Grind. I am Ebony, your host, and I'm so glad that you joined me tonight for Love Grind. Tonight, we're going to talk about love, sex, and codependence, and how that integrates with one another and how that can keep us from moving forward. Okay, if you're just joining us tonight, we are a podcast about love addiction and codependency. And don't forget, on all of our platforms, YouTube, iHeartRadio, and give us a thumbs up. And please comment. I would love to hear from you. Let's get right into it. Love, sex, and codependence. A significant portion of the population exhibits traits associated with codependency. Some estimates suggest that up to 90% of Americans display some signs of codependency. That's almost all of us, guys. A survey of college students indicated that 85% of men and 76% of women met the high to middle classification for codependency. Furthermore, research suggests a link between family stress, low self-esteem, and the development of codependent behaviors. Always got to go back to that childhood. There are differences between love, sex, and codependence, love bugs. Love is an emotional state of mind, often difficult to describe, yet many people experience this emotion. Love can be felt toward people, animals, art, music, clothing, and a number of other experiences. Sex is personal intimacy between two people for which a strong emotional bond exists. Nowadays, it could be two or three people, or three or four. Codependency is psychological dependence on another person. When love and sex become an addiction, healthy love and intimate relationships cease to exist. Yes, because you want that instant gratification, and we all know that relationships take work, and you can't instantly be gratified. You got to give it time, respect, and communication. An addiction to love and sex are disorders of intimacy. An addiction to love is an unhealthy attachment to the idea of love, including the passion that one often feels on the onset of a relationship, the honeymoon stage. A love addict may start a relationship simply to feel that passion and will quickly end a relationship when that passion has disappeared. The sex addiction involves compulsive engagement in sexual activity despite negative consequences. Like, getting prostitutes and getting caught, getting STIs, and still doing it. A sex addiction can occur with others unknown to the individual or can occur with the self, such as excessive masturbation. Just love yourself. Codependency is the unhealthy attachment to another person and can occur in any relationship, like between, siblings or mother and child or, vice versa. But it is most common among partners. A codependent person may not realize they are dependent on another and perceive the relationship as normal. Codependency, love bugs, is a way for one another to depend on the other for positive emotions. We've talked about this before. No one can be in charge of how you feel about yourself, how you feel about the day. You have to be self-aware and be able to regulate your own emotions. Love, sex, and codependency can lead to addiction and share similar characteristics. Again, like instant gratification that drugs give us, that's what we're looking for a love or sex addict. One characteristic is they all might start in childhood, where abandonment, neglect, rejection, or sexual abuse occurred. As adults, love addiction, sex addiction, and codependency can be seen as a way to escape reality and a way to remedy emotional dysfunction. Healthy relationships simply do not provide what a love or sex addict or codependent need. No, it doesn't. You need to fix that underlying issue. Definitely if you're covering up with entering tons of relationships just for that instant gratification, it's not going to do you any good in the long run, just like with drugs. It might give you a relief right then and there. Long run, we all know where that leads us, to despair. So you definitely have to get to the root of your issues, right? These addictions are not different from other addictions. There is treatment available. Okay, I'll put the links down below, like I said, so that you can reach out if you need to. While great sex can contribute to a deeper emotional connection and intimacy in a relationship, it doesn't necessarily lead to codependency or shallow relationships, not all the time. In fact, it can strengthen relationships by fostering communication and mutual respect. However, if sex becomes the primary focus or a way to avoid deeper emotional connections, it could potentially contribute to unhealthy patterns. I know that there's a couple relationships that I've been in myself to where the sex was so good that I overlooked a lot of the underlying issues which was disrespect, mistrust, and things like that. And so I think we all know that one person that was great in the sack, and they might be dysfunctional as hell and toxic as hell, and we still are willing to engage with them, even if it's on a low level, because we want that gratification of what they can do to us or that thing that we like. We all have that one person, but once you start becoming more emotionally aware and mature of what you want and what you need, you definitely can see that that person might not be the best for you in or out of the bed, right? Let's look at a more detailed list of what can happen and how beneficial it is to have great sex. You can have increased emotional closeness. Sex can create a sense of connection and intimacy, which can lead to a stronger emotional bond between partners. Communication and trust. Engaging in sexual activity can encourage couples to communicate openly about their desires, preferences, and boundaries, building trust and respect. Definitely, because after a good session, you're definitely pillow talking. And so that's good communication, all right. It can boost happiness and mental health. Sex can release hormones that improve mood, overall well-being. I definitely agree with that. I haven't had sex in quite some time, and believe me, my moods are up and down. And at this point, I'm like, I gotta find somebody. So how great sex can be problematic to us love bugs is you can focus on physical pleasure. If sex becomes the sole focus of the relationship, it can overshadow other important aspects like emotional intimacy, communication, and shared goals. You don't care about that. You just want the D, or you just wanted to take your pants off. So, not really thinking about that. You can avoid deeper connections. Some people may rely on sex to fill emotional needs rather than addressing underlying issues or seeking deeper connections. Like, fuck it, we just got an argument, let's jump in the sack. That problem is still there. It's just covered up with good sex. And codependency. In some cases, individuals may become overly reliant on sexual activity for validation and emotional fulfillment, potentially leading to codependent behaviors. Definitely agree with that. Sometimes when you end a relationship, you want to know if you still got it, so you seek sexual partners that you know that you're not going to connect with outside of the bed. You got to be aware of that. Love bugs, in summary, great sex can be a positive and healthy part of a relationship when it's part of a broader context of emotional intimacy, communication, and mutual respect. However, if sex becomes the sole focus or a way to avoid deeper connections, it could contribute to codependency or shallow relationships. Definitely can. You learn that you don't need to make an emotional connection with somebody. All you need is sex, and that'll give you a quick fix. You should be okay. But I think in the end, all of us humans want a connection with somebody that we can love and depend on. So keep that in mind, love bugs. I hope you learned something tonight. I know that I did. All right. I ask you to protect your hearts this week. Treat people with empathy, starting with yourself first. And until next time, love bugs, I'm out.